This tutorial shows how to load a Type 1 dimension using Talend Open Studio. The Type 1 dimension is sometimes called an upsert or an overwrite dimension, and that describes the loading characteristics where if a key matches, you'll do an update, but if a key is not found, that's a cue for the processing to insert a record. This example works with a dimension called srdim_fund, and it loads it using the contents of an ETL staging table, sr_etl revenue. The job makes use of three components. This is a MySQL source and target, so it uses the MySQL variants. And a map sits in between. To configure the MySQL input, I'll take a connection from the repository, and I'll also start off by taking a table from the repository to demonstrate the guest query function. Select the staging table, and you can do a guest query. Now that generates a query, sort of a select all query from the staging table. For my example, my data needs a little bit of refinement. The source is mixed up with some fact records, so I need to normalize, and I'll do that with a group by. There may be the call for additional operations or normalizations inside this SQL here. And that'll be the input to the map. Oh, well, one more thing with the input. In the same way that I guess the query, I can also guess the schema. And I need to now bring my schema in sync with the select statement that I've just specified. So that's ready to go. Now for the MySQL output, I'll also take its connection from the repository. Schema is going to be the dimension. Now this schema is also going to take some tweaking. I need to adjust the key structure on the table. When I created it, the DDL specified an auto-index surrogate key. That's got to go in favor of some of this system name and fund name, some of the business key that's in there. Okay. Action on data, I'd like to update or insert, and then this is going to be the target output from the map. Okay, now for the map. Because I followed a naming convention with the staging tables and the dimension, I can do an auto map that gets most everything mapped. I'll also specify a Talend function here. And run the map. Okay, and it gets the records. Now it looks like there might have been some more bad data in there. I should have applied an additional filter to take out the fund name. That could also go into my SQL input statement, or I could use a T filter. So best solution is to fix it in the staging process, but for demonstration purposes you can see that loading a Type 1 dimension is pretty simple in Talend Open Studio.